All right, as we appreciate each and every one of you making your way on inside of the Westover Credit Union Limited Center. We'd like to thank our sponsors who's been supporting the 2024 Mrca Stampede Finals all weekend long. It is none other than Verdun Manitoba Hospital, along with Mazer Group, Master Feeds, Westover Credit Union Limited, Styles Masonry Limited, Berglund Ranch Supply, Fraser Auction Limited, along with Action Power out of Brandon, Manitoba. We'd also like to thank the Days Inn for being the official host hotel for the 2024 finals. And we'd like to thank our platinum sponsors, those who stepped up and went above and beyond. That is none other than Ole's Trading Post and Trucking, along with Heartland Livestock Services and Garcia Group of Companies. As of right now, we're roughly 14 minutes away from the start of the 2024 Mrca Stampede Finals right here in the Westover Credit Union Limited Buck Center. We appreciate each and every one of you for coming on out. Whether you're a contestant, rodeo fan, personnel, thank you to each and every one of you. We're 15 minutes away from the start of the 2024 Manitoba Tour Finals Rodeo right now. All right, as we draw closer to the start of the Friday night right here at the 2024 Manitoba MRCA Stampede Finals Rodeo, we'd once again like to thank our sponsors, Verdun Animal Hospital, along with Mazer Group, Master Feeds, Westoba Credit Union Limited, Styles Masonry Limited, Berglund Ranch Supply, Fraser Auction Limited, Ole's Trading Post and Trucking, Action Power, out of Brandon, Manitoba, Heartland Livestock Services, Mrca Group of Companies. We'd also like Days Inn along with Motel 6 for being our host hotel for the 2024 Manitoba Finals Rodeo. As of right now, we're roughly 7 minutes away from the start of our rodeo performance, so we'd like to kindly ask our flag bearer if we could have our flag bearers make their way on down to the north end of the arena to the Westoba Credit Union Limited center gate, as that is where we'll start off our 2024 MRCA Finals Stampede Rodeo right here in Brandon, Manitoba. So grab yourself something to eat, something to drink. If you're 18 years of age and older, you feel free to stop on by the beer stand, where we're going to be coming to you guys live in roughly 7 minutes from right now. spread as we draw closer for the final minute of the evening. We'd once again like to thank our sponsors, Verdant Animal Hospital, Mazer Group, Master Feeds, Westover Credit Union Limited, Styles Masonry Limited, along with Berglund Ranch Supply, Fraser Auction Limited, Action Power out of Brandon, Manitoba, Motel 6 and Days Inn. That's the official host hotel for the 2025 MRCA Stampede Finals Rodeo right here in Brandon, Manitoba. And we'd like to also thank those who stepped up and went above and beyond in 2024. That's our platinum sponsors. That is none other than Oldies, Trading Post and Trucking. That's Winston Bear out of the Chukachas First Nation, along with Heartland Livestock Services and Garcia Group of Companies. Thank you to each and every one of you for stepping up and putting on a great show here this weekend at the 2024 MRCA Stampede Finals. As we once again say, we're roughly 3 minutes away from the start of our 2024 MRCA Stampede Finals on a Friday night right here at the Westover Credit Union Limited Center. So if you're grabbing yourself something to eat, something to drink, make sure you find your seat, because we're coming to you guys live in roughly 3 minutes from right now. As we're moments away from our opening ceremonies, we would like to page Mr. Tate Bearback. If you could make your way on down to the Westover Credit Union Limited end of the arena through our center gate down there, it'd be greatly appreciated. Tate Bearback, if you could please make your way on down to the end of the arena for our opening ceremonies and moments from right now. Ladies and gentlemen, 53 years ago, they started the association of the Manitoba Rodeo Cowboys Association. Since then, we have grown champions inside of our arena. We have grown champions that have went on to be a two-time PBR Canada finalist like Zane Lambert. We have went on to make a 9-time National Finals Rodeo qualifier and Canadian champion Oren Larson. But it has all started within this arena. This weekend, we have some of the top cowboys and cowgirls in not only Manitoba, but Saskatchewan, Alberta, and British Columbia. And it is time to welcome in the Flags of Rodeo on a Friday night. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2024 Manitoba Stampede Finals. We'd like to thank our flag bearers, Tate Bearback, Payson Peterson, Scott McLeod, Cade Christensen, and Ashton Lehman for carrying our flags here tonight. And then we have Mr. Bruce Dunham carrying in our Saskatchewan Rough Riders flag. Thank you to each and every one of them for showing up and showing out here on a Friday night at the Manitoba Finals Rodeo. As we now ask you to please rise, if you're able, and gentlemen, remove cover. As we do this to honor those who have fought and those who have fallen to keep this great nation we call home free. As we welcome Caitlin Stenberg to the mic for her rendition of O Canada. And Ava Walker carries the Canadian flag. Well, it's wild and western, but ladies and gentlemen, that's why we call it rodeo. For those of you who are familiar with the rodeo world, we all know that horses may or may not like the flag duties. As we now welcome Caitlin Stenberg, she will welcome us with our Canadian rendition of our national anthem, O Canada. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is a little bit of a audible, we'll call it. So, Caitlin Stenberg forgot the word Soul Canada. All right, so I'll sing it. Just the way I did. In grade 1 to grade 4, yeah, we appreciate it all. Our home and native land. True patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true, strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand our guard for thee. Yeah, boy, cowboy. Let's rodeo on a Friday night, and we're going to try to get our audio situation worked out here as soon as possible. I appreciate you all for sitting there listening to me sing Old Canada. I do not claim to be a good singer unless we're at a karaoke bar on a Friday night. All right. Well, we'll get the music side of it situated soon enough. But before we do that, we'd like to head on down to the timed event end of the arena. We're going to get started off with our barrel racing. Once again, thank you to our sponsors, Verdun Animal Hospital, Mazer Grew, Master Feeds, along with Westoba Credit Union Limited, Styles Masonry Limited, Berglund Ranch Supply, Fraser Auction Limited, Oldie's Trading Post and Trucking, along with Action Power out of Brandon, Manitoba, Heartland Livestock Services, Garcia Group of Companies, and thank you to Motel 6 and Days Inn for being the host hotel. This is Bailey McCannell going down and around third barrel right now. Come on, cowgirl. And there we go. That's the sound we wanted to hear earlier on before. Bailey McCannell throwing down a run of a 14.07 in the fastest run of the weekend. Next to go, we're heading on down to Shayna McCannell. She's a two-time 2022-2023 barrel racing champion right now. Shayna McCannell, beautiful first barrel, nice second one as well. We got one more turn to go. Ladies and gentlemen, how about it for Shayna McCannell? We got a time of 14.07 in the lead. We have a time of a 14.12 for Shayna McCannell here in round number 2. Now it is time for my personal pick for the go-round win. The cowgirl who came out in round number 1 and ran a time of 14.12 to win the go-round. This is Ashley Cleveland out of Bengoff, Saskatchewan, getting absolutely down and around, putting together a run. How about it, Ashley Cleveland? She's going to stop the clock at a time of 13.96. Good job, cowgirl. Ashley Cleveland, 13.96, the fastest time of the weekend. And now we're headed on down to the cowgirl, who is the number 1 barrel racer in all the Canadian Cowboys Association barrel racing standings. This is none other than the young gun, Chloe Woods from Moosomin, Saskatchewan. This cowgirl walked in here 1 year ago today and used this event to qualify for her first ever CCA finals. She's the number 1 cowgirl in the nation, and she's coming to you right now. Chloe Woods, very nice first and second barrel. We got one more turn to go, and Brandon, why don't you help her home? Chloe Woods stops the clock at a time of 14.18. 14.18. Ladies and gentlemen, if she ran that time last night, she would have been leading the go-round, but tonight she's in 4th for the round. We're staying with the McCannell girls. Once again, this is the cowgirl, Hallie McCannell. And we'll rake after this cowgirl. Our leaderboard is 13.96. Ashley Cleveland's in the lead. Hallie McCannell, let's go to work, cowgirl. There's one more turn right here. McCannell, head on home. We got a time of a 14.08. 14.08. Unofficially, the 4th fastest time of the go-around as of right now. As we even up our ground for our next 5 open barrel racers, we'd once again like to thank our MRCA Final Stampede Steering Committee. That is none other than Dan Tober, Benny Switzer, Bob Jonathan, Chad Stiles, and April Williamson. Thank you for the time you put in to organize this event. But it is now time for the cowgirl born and raised in Virden, Manitoba. This is Angela Tapp. This cowgirl walked into her hometown rodeo earlier on this year and walked away the champion, Angela Tapp. She's a multiple-time CCA Finals qualifier. And she has one more turn before she heads on home. She picked up second in the go-around on night number 1. Tonight she's a 15.85. She'll be out of the money here tonight on night number 2. Next to go is going to be the cowgirl out of Lakeland, Manitoba, Justine Cornelson. Justine Cornelson, she's one of the cowgirls that can qualify via the Manitoba Final Stampede to try to qualify for her first ever 2024 CCA Finals. In the ladies' barrel racing, let's go to work, cowgirl. This is Justine Cornelson. All right, we got one more turn to go. Help her home. The cowgirl out of right here in Manitoba stops the clock at a time of 14.11. 14.11 for Justine Cornelson. And next, we're headed on down to a cowgirl out of Morris, Saskatchewan. She absolutely lit up the Canadian Cowboys Association earlier on this season. She's the number 1 cowgirl for the long time serving in the Canadian Cowboys Association standings. This is Mallory McLeod, and she's getting down and around right now on the horse of the year in the Canadian Cowboys Association. One more turn and help her home. Mallory McLeod stops the clock at a time of 14.22. 14.22, a little bit long when it comes on down to making the money right here at the MRCA Stampede Finals. Next to go will be none other than the cowgirl out of Shaunavon, Saskatchewan. This cowgirl is a multiple-time CCA Finals qualifier. This is none other than Haley Glassrud. She's going to come and get down and around on the beautiful Dunn horse. We have a time of a 13.96 in the lead, 14.07 in number 2 spot, 14.08 in number 3, but it is now time for Shaunavon, Saskatchewan's Haley Glassard. Very nice second barrel. We got one more turn to go, and why don't you help her home right now? We got a time of a 15.56, 15.56. And last but not least, it is time for a cowgirl who serves on the board of directors for the Canadian Cowboys Association. She is also one of the cowgirls who has stepped up and brought this rodeo to this building here this weekend. This is multiple-time CCA Finals, multiple-time MRCA Finals qualifier. This is April Williamson out of Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and she's going to work right now. We have a 13.96 in the lead, and April Williamson is trying to beat that right now. As she heads on home, she'll stop the clock at a time of 14.46. 14.46. Unofficially, that makes our champion for the second night in a row. Not only that, that was my pick in our parking lot predictions. Ashley Cleveland with a time of 13.96, our go-round number 2 champion. Once again, we'd like to thank our sponsors for the weekend, Motel 6 and Days Inn, for being our host hotel. Prairie Rodeo personally likes to thank them, along with Verdant Animal Hospital, Mazer Group, Master Feeds. But right now, it is time. In a few moments from right now, we'll head on down to our junior barrel racing, as we'd also like to thank Weston Credit Union Limited, along with Styles Masonry Limited, Berglund Ranch Supply, Fraser Auction Limited, Ole's Trading Post and Trucking, Action Power out of Brandon, Manitoba, and Heartland Livestock Services, along with Garcia Group of Companies. Thank you to each and every one of our sponsors for stepping up and helping out the 2024 MRCA Finals Stampede. As I mentioned before, this is the final chance for these cowboys and cowgirls to qualify for the 2024 CCA Finals. And what comes on down to the barrel racing, that was a very interesting round we had go on again. Ashley Cleveland, that cowgirl, is outside of the top 10, and she is trying to qualify through that wild card spot, and she absolutely lit it up here on night number 1. Now we're going to keep into the same event. We're going to switch it up just a little bit. The cowgirls are 16 years of age and under, and it's going to be time for our junior girls barrel racing in moments from right now. Our gunner is going to be the number 1 cowgirl. Correction. Actually, Marty Fisk will be our first cowgirl in the order. Marty Fisk, this young lady, was the cowgirl who qualified to the 2024 MRCA Stampede Finals through the last rodeo of the year. When you're riding in throughout the season in the Canadian Cowboys Association, there's absolutely nothing better than it all laying down on the last run of the year, and that's a run that gets you on into the finals. That's exactly what happened to this young lady right here, Marty Fisk, out of Manitoba. Very nice second barrel. We got one more turn to go before the horse race home. Come on, Marty Fisk out of Mooseman, Saskatchewan. We got a time of a 16.13. 16.13 for that cowgirl out of Mooseman, Saskatchewan. And now we're headed on down to the number 1 cowgirl, not only in the Manitoba standings, but the number 1 junior barrel racer in all of the Canadian Cowboys Association standings. This is none other than Manitoba, Saskatchewan's Kiera Williamson, going to work for us right now. She picked up first in round number 1 with a time of 14.49, and it's looking like she's going to do the same here tonight. We stopped the clock at a time of 14.45. 14.45, just a little bit faster than night number 1 for Kiera Williamson. Now we're headed on down to Beachy, Saskatchewan for the cowgirl, Allie Capeller. She qualified to her first CCA Finals this year. This is her first ever MRCA Stampede Finals, and that's the first time she knocked a barrel inside of this arena. We're going to have to add 5 seconds onto the time of 14.41. 14.41 for that young lady out of Beachy, Saskatchewan. We will now rake, and after the rake, we'll come on down with our final 3 barrel racers of the night. It is now time for the cowgirl out of Hazenmoor, Saskatchewan. This is none other than Tess Switzer. She's qualified to the 2024 CCA Finals, and she's been there before, getting a little wild around that second barrel. We got one more turn to go. Brendan, help her home. 15.81. Unofficially into number 4 spot for the go-round. And next to go is going to be a young lady, Kelsey McGee. She comes to us out of Deloraine, Manitoba. In round number 1, she absolutely lit it up with a time of 14.11, but she got in a little bit of penalty trouble with knocking down 2 barrels. If she can keep it clean tonight, that fast time is not safe. We have a 14.45 in the lead, posted by Kira Williamson out of Manitoba, Saskatchewan. But right now it is time for Kelsey McGee. Kelsey McGee coming down that center alley right now through the Westoba Credit Union Limited center gate. Let's go to work, cowgirl. Very nice first barrel. Very nice second. She kept them standing here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. You could see a new leader right now. And she's going to stop the clock at a time of 13.93. 13.93, absolutely phenomenal run posted there by the young lady out of Deloraine, Manitoba. It is now time for the cowgirl out of Weyburn, Saskatchewan, who's qualified to the CCA Finals multiple times. Second generation rodeo cowgirl. This is Tyra Kamita. Her older brothers have lit it up in their junior steer riding in the Canadian Cowboys Association. But Tyra is one of the best junior barrel racers we have each and every time she rides across an electric eye. And she's proving it for you right now. We have a 13.93 in the lead. Tyra Kamita, head on home. We're going to stop the clock at a time of 14.36. 14.36 unofficially into number 4 spot for the go-round. Ladies and gentlemen, that makes our champion on night number 2 right here in Brandon, Manitoba. How about it for Kelsey McGee with a time of 13.93. Once again, we'd like to thank Verdun Animal Hospital along with Mazer Group, Master Feeds, Westoba Credit Union Limited, along with Styles Masonry Limited, Berglund Ranch Supply, Fraser Auction Limited, Oldies Trading Post and Trucking, Action Power out of Brandon, Manitoba, Heartland Livestock Services, Garcia Group of Companies, along with Days Inn and Motel 6. Thank you to you for your support as well. It is now time to head on down to the rough stock end of the arena for the first time of the weekend. We're going to get started off with our novice bareback riding right now. As right now we head on down to the Mazer Group Buck and Shoot. This is Wyatt Verbeek, the Cowboy out of Alberta. Holy. We like to thank our ground personnel for staying on out here, running that tractor to try to even up the ground and keep it as safe as possible for the barrel racers. But for the novice bareback rider, that's a long way to come down. That Cowboy out of Alberta, thumbs down on a Friday night. Now we're going to roll on down into our open bareback riding. The Wild Man's event right now in the bareback riding. It is time for the year-end champion of the Canadian Cowboys Association. The year-end champion of the Canadian Cowboys Association. Not only that, the number one cowboy of the Manitoba Tour. This is a young man, Justin Carrier. He has won multiple rodeos all year long. And he's looking to add to that right now. On night number one, he was the only qualified ride in the bareback riding. And tonight, he is matched up against the horse brought to us by Prairie Rodeo. It is none other than Rapid City. Justin Carrier, he's went for a tear when it comes on down to the final end of the season. The Cowboy knew he needed to beat Colton Ouellette, who has been a multiple-time year-end champion. So this Cowboy, not only did he enter events, he double-entered events. Which that means is when he went on down to Ashland, Manitoba, not only could he ride once, but he could ride twice. And he picked up not only first, but second spot at that rodeo. And because of efforts like that all season long, that's why he's the year-end champion right now. Justin Carrier out of Arcola, Saskatchewan. Brandon, Manitoba, you do not see that year-end champion come down very often, but unfortunately tonight that is the case. Bucked off, no score, no money for Justin Carrier. As we now let that full out there as well, we'd like to thank Prairie Rodeo for stepping up and being our stock contractor for the 2024 MRCA Stampede Finals. As that is not only a generational bucking horse, but a second generational colt out there. Thank you to Prairie Rodeo. Mario and Carl Barrett, not only do they raise some of the best bucking horses in the province, they raise some of the best bucking horses in the country. It is now time for the Cowboy coming to us out of Winnipeg, Manitoba. You want to talk about being born tough? This Cowboy was born and raised in one of the most dangerous cities in the country of Thunder Bay, Ontario. From there, he moved to Winnipeg, Manitoba, one of the other toughest cities there is. This is none other than Spencer Parker, getting ready to ride right now. This Cowboy's the number 3 ranked bareback rider in the Canadian Cowboys Association, and it looks like he's just about ready to nod. Right now, let's go to work, Cowboy. Spencer Parker out of Winnipeg, Manitoba. That Cowboys matched up against the horse Days In, brought to us by Prairie Rodeo. Bucked off, no score. The bareback riding is no score for either one. Prairie Rodeo, they brought the buckers to town right there. No score. As we now head on down to the action, power buck and shoot brought to us by Brandon, Manitoba right here. This is going to be the young gun out of Shelbrooke, Saskatchewan, Bo Armstrong. Bo Armstrong, the Cowboy, worked his way up through the Saskatchewan High School Rodeo ranks, qualified to the National High School Finals. In the past, let's go to work right now. Bo Armstrong, saddle bronc rider. Let's ride, Cowboy. Well, I'll tell you what, in the saddle bronc riding, they say it takes you up to 100 horses to know exactly what's going on. If you're entering the novice saddle bronc riding, that means you're just trying to get your feet underneath of you. That young Cowboy, Bo Armstrong, is one of the best steer riders we had in the last couple years. He transitioned now to the novice saddle bronc riding, and he can hear from you right now. No score for Shelbrooke, Saskatchewan's Bo Armstrong. So we'd once again like to introduce to you for the evening Mr. Wayne Rowe and Cam Mason, our Cowboy Pick-A-Men. It is now time for the number one novice saddle bronc rider in the Manitoba Tour. This is Trey Shadlock. The Cowboys out of Debden, Saskatchewan. On night number one, he was 71 points to win the go-round. He was the only qualified rod. He's looking to do the same right now. Trey Shadlock, let's ride one, Cowboy. Trey Shadlock, that Cowboy, is an absolute up-and-comer right there. The way he moves his feet, he's doing everything you need. Steps off right there on Mr. Cam Mason. Good job, Trey Shadlock. He's going to be the go-round champion in number two, regardless of the score. You can mark him 50, you can mark him 100, but regardless, he's going to be the highest scored ride. But I want to point out one thing about Trey Shadlock right there. In the novice saddle bronc riding, for the most part, you will not see the Cowboys get their legs moving. But tonight, that Cowboy did exactly that, just like he did on night number one. And on night number two, that Cowboy is 74 points and the go-round champion. As we transition ends of the arena, we'd once again like to thank our sponsors, Motel 6 and Days Inn, for being the host hotel for the 2024 MRCA Stampede Finals. We'd also like to thank Verdant Animal Hospital, along with Mazer Group, Master Feeds, Westoba Credit Union Limited, Styles Masonry Limited, Berglund Ranch Supply, Fraser Auction Limited, Ole's Trading Post and Trucking, Action Power, Heartland Livestock, along with Garcia Group of Companies. And speaking of Garcia Group of Companies, they are the sponsor for the team roping of the 2024 MRCA Stampede Finals. So we appreciate them as we head on down to the timed event end of the arena for the first time of the evening. Let's head on down to the Fast Cowboys. They're teaming up our team ropers. And now it is time for Mr. Benny Switzer teaming up with a young gun out of Elbow, Saskatchewan. This is Travis Griffin. These Cowboys snuck in at the very last moment to the Manitoba Finals, And they need this week, and if they want to qualify to the 2024 CCA Finals, Ben Switzer, one of the best headers in the game, dallies up, goes left. Mr. Griffin, let's get him cleaned up. Yes, sir. An 8.8 won the round, and round number 1. We got a time of a 7.1, unfortunately +5 on the heel end right there. Mr. Travis Griffin, the cowboy out of Elbow, Saskatchewan, only picked up 1 foot. 7.1 +5. Now we're headed to a team of absolute young guns right here with Mr. Payson Peterson on the head side, Weston Packett on the heels. I've had the pleasure of announcing these cowboys 1 weekend to go in Lakeland at the college there in Vermilion, Alberta, where these cowboys were crowned the team roping champions on day number 1. On day number 1, right here at the MRCA Stampede Finals, they were crowned the champions in this very arena. The 3rd generation Rodeo Cowboys on the head side. Weston Packett's on the heels. They're trying to qualify to the 2024 CCA Finals, but uncharacteristically right there, Payson Peterson throws down, comes up empty. That's going to be a no time. No time for Payson Peterson and Weston Packett. Now it is time to head on down to the big muddy region of Saskatchewan, Bengoff, Saskatchewan. That is where Mac McQuaig and Kelson McQuaig call home. These Cowboys are outside of the top 10. They need this weekend to try to qualify to the 2024 CCA Finals. That run that they just seen, posted by Payson Peterson and Weston Packett, that opens up a door. The only question is, are the McQuaig boys going to be able to walk through it? Earlier on this year, they were the champions in the team roping in Whitewood, Saskatchewan, along with the reserve title in Pilot Butte. Let's go to work right now. The McQuaig boys throws down. We got a good head catch. Let's clean them up on the back end. Yes, sir, no. On the back end, Mr. Kelson McQuaig loses his rope. That's going to be a no time. Next to go is going to be the cowboy on the head side out of Verta, Manitoba. It's none other than Justin Miller. Tanner Froshaug out of Minton, Saskatchewan is on the heel side. A little bit of a unique situation right now as Tanner Froshaug, the cowboy on the heel side, he's already qualified to the Canadian Cowboys Association Finals in North Battleford, Saskatchewan next weekend on the heel side. Justin Miller, it is your time to shine right now. The Cowboys rodeoed on the biggest stages in Canada. He's qualified as a bulldogger to the Canadian Finals Rodeo. He's competed at the greatest outdoor show on earth, the Calgary Stampede, as a bulldogger as well. But right now it's time to see how good he can head. Very nice head catch. Let's go on the back end. No. No time for Justin Miller and Tanner Froshaug. Now it is time for a cowboy who was introduced to me as a bulldogger. Justin Bridgman. This cowboy's been lighting it up every single time he has a rope in his hand all season long. Every time I've been behind the mic. Earlier on this season, in the tie-down roping, he was crowned the champion at one of the biggest paying rodeos of the year. Right outside of Brandon, Manitoba, at Wayway-Sakapo Gas Bar, he was crowned the champion there. He's teaming up with Austin Welpton, a young cowboy. He's qualified to the CCA finals multiple times as a bulldogger, looking to be there as a team roper, and he calls Verdun, Manitoba home. These cowboys picked up a third-place check in Tisdale, Saskatchewan at the Rambler Rodeo earlier on this year, and then they split ways for a little bit. They're back together, and they're looking to make a little bit of money on a Friday night right here. Justin Miller, beautiful head catch. Austin Welpton, yes, sir. You know what? I don't think you could complain about that any time of the day. We got a time of a 6.3 and a brand new leader. Good job right there for Justin Bridgman along with Austin Welpton throwing a run together on a Friday night. Now we head on down to the Cowboys that just crawled out of the Bears Den of Groenland, Saskatchewan. This is going to be the young Cowboys, Jace and Rudy Schellenberg. These Cowboys in round number 1 picked up third place with a time of 20.8 and picked up 20 points towards the Manitoba Tour final standings. These Cowboys have already qualified to the 2024 CCA Finals, so they're trying to gun after that $800 that we pay out to the number 1 spot in the team roping. Jace is the young cowboy on the head side. Rudy is the cowboy on the heels. We're going to have a little bit of a conversation right there with our cowboy officials. The Schellenbergs, I'm not exactly sure how we're going to rule that. I'm not exactly sure if they've seen something when they nodded their head. They've been behind that barrier line a lot more times than I have been, so I cannot speak for them. But we'll try to get that relayed back to you as soon as we can. But as of right now, unofficially, that will be a no time. But we may have a rerun. We do have a rerun? All right. We got the official word for Brenda Peterson, our secretary. Oh, the judge said that. She said the judge said that. Mr. Elmer Eagle and Gord Adams, we have 2 of the best in the business down there. So we will have a rerun for the Schellenbergs. But right now it is time to head on down to the cowboy out of Carnduff, Saskatchewan, Ty Patton. He's teamed up with Coulter Dunn. This team has not roped together all year long, but they have been trying to team up together for the later part of the year, and they've made their way to the pay window, but they need to make their way a little bit more. Right now, I would say this is more or less a practice run, as both these Cowboys have qualified to the CCA Finals already. Come on, Ty Patton. Throws down, comes up empty. That's going to be a no time. No time for Carnduff, Saskatchewan's Ty Patton and Coulter Dunn. It is now time to head to some legends of the game, a team who has already qualified to the CCA Finals in 2024. This is Vincent Traynor on the head side, the cowboy out of Delisle, Saskatchewan. He's a multiple-time CCA Finals qualifier, CCA Finals champion, and Scott McLeod on the heel side. He's qualified to the CCA Finals just about more times than anyone else on this planet. In round number 1, they came up empty. They're heading into the finals rated in number 3 position. Throughout the Manitoba Tour standings, their best placing all year long was in Tisdale, Saskatchewan at the Rambler Rodeo, where they ran a time of a 6.6. Vincent Trainer out of Delisle, Saskatchewan. The Cowboys going to be on the head side. And then we have the Anvil on the heel side. That's Mr. Scott McLeod. Slow running steer that the Cowboys know how to handle. Come on, Scott. Yes, sir. We got to face up. We got to drop the flag. And we look back at the barrier. We got 10 back there as well. We got an 11.2 plus 15. 11.2 plus 15. A 26.2 when we get it all added up for the veterans, Vincent Trainer and Scott McLeod. And now it is time for the Iron Man of the Canadian Cowboys Association on the head side. It is Scott Sigfusson. He is the number 1 back number riding on into the Canadian Cowboys Association Finals in 1 week from right now. He calls to Gasky, Saskatchewan, and he's matched up with a Cowboy who went through the Saskatchewan High School Rodeo ranks to the National High School Finals, went down south to Level End, Texas on a rodeo scholarship. It is Ashton Lehman who is riding the reigning heel horse of the year that goes by the name Ace. These Cowboys are the number 2 team in the Canadian Cowboys Association. Let's go to work. Ashton Lehman, yes sir. We got a time of 6.0 for Scott Sigfusson and Ashton Lehman. 6.0, Scott Sigfusson, Ashton Lehman, straight to the top of the leaderboard. Yeah, boy, Cowboy. They absolutely hammer that run right there. It is now time for the rerun. The Cowboys out of Grandlid, Saskatchewan. The Cowboys coming to us out of the Bears Den. It's going to be Jace and Rudy Schellenberg. On night number 1, this team picked up 3rd place in the go-round, and they're trying to build on that right now. They were the champions when they rode into Ashern, Manitoba. And now, on a Friday night, they're trying to build on that. We have a time of a 6.0 in the lead. That is Scott Sigfusson. That is Ashton Lehman. But it is now time for the Cowboys, the Schellenberg boys out of Grandlid, Saskatchewan. Let's go, Cowboys. We get it all added up. We have a time of a 6.8, unofficially into number 3 in the go-round for the Schellenberg boys. 6.8, 3rd in the round for Jason Rudy Schellenberg. And then there was one. The Cowboy on the head side's been a multiple-time CCA Finals champion. The Cowboy on the heel side has done the same. This is Tufton McLeod and Brady Chappell. I have mentioned all weekend long how the MRCA has built champions, and these Cowboys are an example of that. Tufton McLeod on the head side went on to the CFR, went on to the Calgary Stampede this year. Brady Chappell has done the exact same, and at the CFR this year, he was crowned a go-round champion. They have been champions in this association. They have been champions of Manitoba. They have represented Saskatchewan and Manitoba on the biggest stages in the rodeo world, and they're going to try to do it again right now on a Friday night in Brandon, Manitoba, inside of the Westoba Credit Union Limited Center. Let's go to work. Tufton has a nice head catch, and Brady cleans it up just the way we know how. We have a time of a 6.3, good enough for a split for number 2 and 3 spot in the go-round. So, ladies and gentlemen, how about the go-round champions, Scott Sigfusson and Ashton Lehman with a time of 6.0. As we head on down to the rough stock end of the arena, this is Jet Lockey, the cowboy out of Wisconsin, Manitoba. Won the round in night number 1 with a 74-point ride. Good job in round number 2. Kicking loose with that outside foot. I think he even might have spurred that thing in the neck the odd time. Making the kind of bull ride that Dale Brisby and Corey Guinness would be proud of right there. Good job, cowboy. Jet Lockey, good job, cowboy. That cowboy's working his way up through the rodeo ranks the right way. He's taking under the wing of two-time national champion Zane Lambert. And Zane Lambert would be happy with that. 65 points. He used every single point he could out of that animal. And now we head on down to the Fraser Auction Limited bucking chute. It is now time for the cowboy Luke Moorhead. He's qualified to his first ever CCA finals in 2024. And he's currently ranked the number 3 CCA ranked steer rider in the standings. A couple weeks ago, he's crowned the champion at Wayway-Sakapo Gaspar Rodeo, one of the highest paying rodeos all season long. This cowboy's a second generation steer rider going to work right now. Come on, Luke Moorhead, keep hustling. Kick loose, cowboy. Good job, cowboy. Luke Moorhead putting our judges to work. Mr. Elmer Eagle and Gord Adams. They're going to have to mark that steer 1 to 50 for how good that steer bucked. 1 to 50 for how good that cowboy rode. And because that cowboy kicked loose a few times there, he should be a couple more points higher than the animal. We got a score of 67 points, 67, unofficially to the top of the leaderboard. And now it is time to head to Bigger Saskatchewan for our first time CCA Finals. First time MRCA Stampede Finals qualifier. This is Nixon Capel. The cowboy's warming up his rope inside of that buck and chute, the closest buck and chute towards you, all in the stands. The cowboy rides with 2 hands down. And he put together a great ride on night number 1 after a little bit of adversity, as the Cowboy did have a little bit of trouble getting outside of the bucking chute. These Cowboys can ride with 2 hands or 1, but if you start with 2 hands, you got to finish the 8 seconds with 2 hands. If you start off with 1, you cannot reach down with your free arm within that 8-second time range. Otherwise, we will assess you a no score. Nixon Capel, this Cowboy came absolutely out of nowhere in 2024. He set his goals on qualifying for the CCA finals, the KCRA finals, and the MRCA finals, and he checked each and every one of those goals off of his list here this year. And we're going to try to get this steer standing just a little bit better, as you do not want that steer, for that Cowboy sitting inside of that bucking chute. If that steer's laying on his left leg, you do not want to take him like that, otherwise that steer could fall outside of the bucking chute down to the left. If he's leaning on the right leg, that just means you cannot get your legs in the proper position to try to pick up the steer's timing. Nixon Capel just about ready to ride out of Bigger, Saskatchewan. Cowboy comes out of a rodeo family out there in Bigger. This Cowboy's auntie qualified to the International Indian Finals Rodeo multiple times and represented Saskatchewan. Exactly the same as Nixon Capel's about ready to do right now. Let's go to work, Cowboy. A little bit of a false start right there, as we're going to have to reassess the situation inside of that bucking chute for Nixon Capel. As we reassess the situation inside of that number 6 bucking chute right now, Nixon Capel, the Cowboys riding up just about ready to nod. On night number 1, he had a qualified ride, and he's trying to add to that right now. Coming to us out of Bigger, Saskatchewan, that's a long, long way from Brandon, Manitoba. But this Cowboy's trying to ride for a title. We'll see him in 1 week from right now at the North Battleford, Saskatchewan Canadian Cowboys Association Finals. Nixon Capel, let's go to work, Cowboy. Bucked off. No score, no money. Correction, we will have a re-ride on that last Cowboy. Nixon Capel, a re-ride. As these Cowboy officials, Elmer Eagle and Mr. Gord Adams, they'll let us know if that Cowboy had a fair and equal opportunity to try to win the go-round here tonight. You do not have to have a chance to win the go-round, but you at least have to have a chance to win a little bit of money. And tonight, for Nixon Capel, he did not have that opportunity. We'll run him in another one. So we'll meet Nixon Capel out of Bigger, Saskatchewan in a few moments from right now. It is now time for the number 1 Cowboy in the Manitoba Tour. This is Gunnar Armstrong, a young man out of Shelbrooke, Saskatchewan. Currently ranked number 4 in the CCA standings going on into the finals next weekend. This Cowboy was the champion steer rider in Austin, Manitoba, at one of the most historic rodeos we have at the Threshermen's Reunion. Brandon, Manitoba at the Wayway-Sakapo Gas Bar. He was the crowned the champion there. Let's go to work right now to try to be the champion. Away from the hand, that steer's moving ahead. Good job, Cowboy. Steps off, Mr. Armstrong. That Cowboys rodeoed on the Saskatchewan High School Rodeo ranks as well, along with the KCRA Rodeo ranks. but he is one of the top names we have in the Canadian Cowboys Association nowadays. We'll wait for that score to get relayed back on up here to our timers. Cam Mason in. We got a score of 63 points, and this is Jet Lockey right here. Sorry, correction, this is Joel Fisk. Joel Fisk right there making a qualified ride. All right, Joel Fisk, 63 points. Correction, Gunnar Armstrong was 63. That was 57 points with the option of a re-ride for the last Cowboy. This is Tucker Danberg right here. Tucker Danberg making a qualified ride right there, putting our judges to work. So we do have a couple re-rides to take care of. We're not sure if we're going to be running them all right now, if we're going to run a couple a little bit later. Tucker Danberg putting our Cowboy officials to work. We now have a mobile walkie-talkie in Mr. Cam Mason. Once again, we'd like to thank our sponsors, Verdant Animal Hospital, Mazer Group, Master Feeds, Westoba Credit Union Limited, Styles Masonry Limited, Berglund Ranch Supply, Fraser Auction Limited. We got a score of 64 points, 64 and a half for our last Cowboy. Rolling on down to the next one. This is none other than Nixon Capel, the Cowboy out of Bigger, Saskatchewan, coming to us out of the Action Power Buck and Shoot. We'd like to thank Action Power for stepping up and sponsoring the 2024 Manitoba Rodeo Final Stampede right here. Nixon Capel, the young Cowboy out of Bigger, Saskatchewan. As Cowboy watches Ante in years past qualified to the IFR. Let's go to work, Mr. Capel. Kick loose, keep spurring him, Cowboy. Yes, sir, Bigger, Saskatchewan. New York is big, but bigger is bigger right there. Nixon Capel, good job, Cowboy. As we will have a re-ride a little bit later on, but right there, Nixon Capel putting together a great ride. We'll get it all added up before we relay it on back to you guys right now. We got a score of 67 points for the Cowboy out of Bigger, Saskatchewan. All right, a little bit of news for you all. Our second Cowboy is not taking his re-ride, Tucker Danberg. So that unofficially will wrap up our junior steer riding here on a Friday night. All right, as we head on down to the timed event end for the final time before our intermission, we're going to head on down to the big man's event, our steer wrestling. And as we do that, we'd like to thank Motel 6 and Days Inn for being our host hotel all weekend long, along with Action Power, Fraser Auction, Berglund, Ranch Supply, Styles, Masonry Limited, Westover Credit Union Limited, Master Fees, Mazer Group, and Verdant Animal Hospital. We'd also like to thank those sponsors that stepped up above and beyond in our MRCA Final Stampede. Platinum sponsors is none other than Ole's Trading Post and Trucking, Heartland Livestock Services, and Garcia Group of Companies, as we're now headed on down to the big man's event. It is time for the Bulldoggin'. It is now time for a cowboy out of Whitewood, Saskatchewan. He's still in high school, but he's one of the top all-around cowboys we have, and he goes by the name of Jace Bearback. As Cowboy picked up the reserve steer wrestling title earlier on this season in Asher, Manitoba. This is Jace Bearback. No time. The only upside of that run right there is that Cowboy's young enough that he can get up and out of the arena without a whole lot of pain. As we now set the stage for the 2022 Canadian Cowboys Association Finals Steer Wrestling Champion, Coulter Froshog. Coulter's one of my favorite cowboys there is to watch each and every time he rides in behind that barrier line, as that barrier line comes into effect to ensure this cowboy gives the steer a proper head start. This cowboy's about 6'3" tall, weighs about 150 pounds, but he is very, very good at this event. Earlier on this season, he picked up a third-place check in Radville, Saskatchewan with a time of 7.5. He picked up a fifth in Weyburn, Saskatchewan, a fourth in Whitewood, but right now, after a no time in round number 1, he's going to try to build on that. In round number 2, let's go to work, Coulter Froshog. We got 10 at the barrier, plus 5.4. 5.4 plus 10, 15.4. When we get it all added up. It is now time to head on down to the number 2 ranked steer wrestler in the Canadian Cowboys Association standings out of Weldon, Saskatchewan. This is Coulter Taylor. On night number 1, this cowboy ran a time of a 6.9 and picked up 4th place and picked up 10 points towards the Manitoba Tour. All right, correction just a little bit. We're going to switch it up. To my pick to win the go-round, this is the cowboy out of Sunningdale, Saskatchewan. This cowboy qualified to CCA finals. This cowboy's qualified to the KCRA finals, and he's worked his way up through the rodeo ranks the right way. On night number 1, this cowboy was crowned the champion with a time of a 5.6. He needs to make a good showing right here in this arena to try to qualify through the wild card spot. Come on, Clay Ellis. No. That's going to be a no time on night number 2, and that's going to make the rest of the bulldogging very, very interesting. as Clay Ellis comes up with a no time. It is now time to head on down to a young man out of Maple Creek, Saskatchewan, who's ranked number 4 in the CCA standings. This is Tate Bearback with a Cowboy rounding time of an 8.9 in round number 1, which put him in the crying hole in number 5 position. This Cowboy is on the horse of the year that goes by the name Flat Deck. These Bearback boys, I'm very excited to watch them throughout their rodeo career, as they are both young up-and-comers, and I can almost guarantee that these Cowboys will be representing Saskatchewan and Manitoba when it comes on down to the Canadian Finals Rodeo in a few years from right now. Tate Bearback, the number 4 ranked Bulldogger in the Canadian Cowboys Association, is going to work right now. Yes, sir! We got a time of a 4.8 and the fastest time on the weekend. 4.8 for Tate Bearback. Good job, Cowboy. As we now head on down to our next Cowboy out of Minton, Saskatchewan, this is Tanner Froschog. This Cowboy's already qualified to the 2024 CCA Finals in the team roping, but he is a wild card when it comes on down to qualifying for the CCA Finals in the bulldogging, and that is not the way it should be. This Cowboy's one of the top bulldoggers I watch every single season. He picked up first place at one of the premier rodeos put on by Prairie Rodeo, Carl Muriel Baird, in Pilot Butte, Saskatchewan earlier on this year, where he ran a time of a 4.4. He picked up third place in Ashland, Manitoba a couple months ago, and right now the door is open. The only question is, Tanner Froschog, are you going to walk through it? Let's go to work, Cowboy. That's not going to work out here tonight for Tanner Froschog. No time. Now we head on down to a Cowboy out of Weldon, Saskatchewan that I've had the pleasure work his way up to the KCRA Rodeo ranks to the Canadian Cowboys Association. He's qualified to the CCA Finals in the past, and he's done it again this year, where he qualified in number 2 position. In round number 1, he ran a time of a 6.9, where he picked up 4th place and 10 points towards the Manitoba Championship. This is Coulter Taylor. The Cowboy is the reserve champion from the Tisdale Rambler Rodeo earlier on this year, where he ran a time of a 5.5. Come on, Coulter, get down right there in front of the buck and shoots. Manitoba, you can help this Cowboy out right now. Yes, sir. The crowd goes wild as we stop the clock at a time of a 13.1, but unfortunately, we add on 10. We have 10 seconds at the barrier, 13.1 plus 10, 23.1 when we get it all added up. That cowboy comes to us all the way from Weldon, Saskatchewan. That is Coulter Taylor. And you know, if you're following along on the Facebook, Caitlin Stenberg, she wanted to start it off a little bit of parking lot predictions. We called it the Manitoba Finals Forecast, and this was her pick. This is none other than Tyson Willick. This is a cowboy who was crowned the reserve world champion in the bulldogging at the National High School Finals. He went down to Levelland, Texas, where he competed on a rodeo scholarship down in the toughest region there is in the world. And this cowboy made money down there and qualified to the college national finals. He's a multiple-time CCA finals qualifier. And he puts in the time each and every other week, where he goes on down to the Sparrow Barn, and they bulldog down there to practice up. Tyson Willick, let's go to work, cowboy. To the nose, yes, sir. We got a time of a 6.0. Good enough for number 2 in the go round. Tyson Willick, good job, cowboy. Our leader right now is Bearback with a time of a 4.8. Tyson Willick in number 2 spot with a time of 6.0. It is now time for a cowboy from just down the road. This is Austin Welpton. A cowboy who's young in age, but not when it comes on down to the rodeo world. He's a veteran when it comes on down to the bulldogging. He's qualified to the CCA finals in the past, but he is not qualified yet. This cowboy is vying for that wild card spot, and in round number 1, he ran a time of a 6.7 where he picked up 3rd place and 20 points. Clay Ellis earlier on tonight was unfortunately a no time. As of right now, Clay Ellis and Austin Welpton, they are battling it out for number 1 and 2 spot. And Austin Welpton, the cards are in your hand right now, cowboy. To quote my good friend, Doug Young, the door is open. The only question is Austin Welpton going to be able to walk through it? Earlier on this season, he picked up the championship in Radville, Saskatchewan. Come on, Austin, don't quit. And that's going to make the race for the wild card spot a little bit more interesting right there as that cowboy gets a no time. Now, when we talk about rodeo resumes, our next cowboy, out of all the bulldoggers, has the best of the best. This cowboy, 1 year ago from today, used this exact same finals to qualify to the CCA finals. Well, we're going to switch things up a little bit. Just a little bit. We're going to head on down to the Iron Man of the Canadian Cowboys Association. Ladies and gentlemen, this next cowboy is walking into the CCA finals next weekend in North Battleford, Saskatchewan with a number 1 back number. That means he's the best of the best, and he's coming to us right now. Scott Sigfusson, let's go to work, cowboy. We got a time of a 5.8, unofficially into number 2 spot for the GOAT round. 5.8 for Scott Sigfusson. Now to continue my conversation from a few moments ago. 1 year ago in this very arena, this cowboy rose to the occasion and used the Manitoba Tour Mrca Stampede Finals as a way to qualify to the CCA Finals. This cowboy not only has ran at the CCA Finals multiple times, he's competed on the biggest stages in rodeo, including the Canadian Finals Rodeo and the greatest outdoor show on earth. This is Manitoba's own Justin Miller. Multi-event hand going to work right now. Hard running steer. Gets the best of Justin Miller here tonight. That is going to be a no time. No time, so that unofficially makes our champion of round number 2, Tate Bearback, with a time of 4.8. Then we have Scott Sigfusson in number 2 spot with a 5.8. Tyson Willick with a 6.0 number 3 spot. And then we have a whole lot of penalties added on for number 4 spots. So that's our top 3. We're now going to have an intermission for 10 minutes. In 10 minutes, we'll be coming to you guys with our second half of the rodeo performance. So feel free to get up, stretch your legs, grab yourself something to eat, something to drink. And if you want to talk about how good our anthem singer was, you could do that as well. We're coming to you guys live in roughly 10 minutes from right now. All right, this is your final minute warning. We're going to be coming on back in 1 minute from right now with the second half of the 2024 Manitoba Stampede Finals. All right, it's time to get started with the second half of our 2024 Manitoba Finals Stampede Rodeo right here. We're going to get started off with the Cowboy, who has 73 points on night number 1. He's multiple-time CCA Finals qualifier. This is Chance Strogren. He's matched up against the horse they won the round on night number 1. Coming to us out of the Master Feeds Bucking Chute. As he crawls over that top rail, the Cowboy's measuring his rein. Or correction, Chance Strogren, he's matched up against the horse Searchlight. Inside of that Master Feeds Bucking Chute, the measurement of that rein is very important. If you have it a little bit too long, you have absolutely nothing to hold yourself on into your saddle. And underneath your swells, you have no leverage. But if you get it a little bit too short and that horse bucks with its heads down low to the ground, there's potential for you to get pulled up and over top of that horse's head. Let's go, Chance Strogren. Come on, Cowboy. Keep lifting. Ladies and gentlemen, that Cowboy's already qualified to the Canadian Cowboys Association Finals. He's just getting on here to try to pick up his time and get everything dialed in for the finals next weekend. So I'm not sure if he's going to be able to take his re-ride or how he's going to handle that situation. But Chance Strogren, he was absolutely going to that great bucking horse right there, brought to us by Prairie Rodeo. So why don't you put your hands together for both Cowboy and that horse bucked off on night number 2. right, Chance Strogren's going to be taking his reride, so we'll be seeing him a little bit later on. But right now, we head on down to the bucking chutes for the next cowboy. This is Blake Rasmussen. This is the cowboy who's ranked number 3 in the Canadian Cowboys Association standings as of right now. And this cowboy is the reigning novice saddle bronc riding champion. If you want to see the way the leagues work, come on, cowboy. Blake Rasmussen, getting those feet moving. Keep moving, cowboy. Charge that front end. Good job, cowboy. Blake Rasmussen stepping off on that horse. Ladies and gentlemen, that cowboy's come a long way from 1 year ago. That's the number 2 ranked saddle bronc rider in the CCA, and he can hear from you right now. All right, we got 73 points for the cowboy out of Moosomin, Saskatchewan. 73 points for Blake Rasmussen. Right now we have our cowboy pickup man, Mr. Mike Rowe and Cam Mason. Head on, escort this horse out of the arena. Good job, cowboys. Prairie Rodeo, they race some of not only the best bucking horses in the province of Saskatchewan, but Manitoba. Oh, and we do have the winning 50-50 ticket number that we'll be announcing right after this ride for $598. The 50-50 is going to be announced right after this ride. It is now time for the Go Round 1 champion. This is Hoss Stover, Houston Stover, matched up against the horse Wild Times. Sounds like exactly what this cowboy had on his 17th birthday at the Boston Pizza right here in Brandon, Manitoba. This Hoss Stover, this cowboy, all he's ever wanted to be his entire life is a bronc rider. He's pursued it the exact perfect way. He's rodeoing down south on a rodeo scholarship. Let's go to work, cowboy. Hoss Stover, 3rd generation bronc rider, going to work right now. Won the round in round number 1. Absolutely getting that thing gathered up, dialed in. Good job, Hoss Stover. Good job, cowboy. I was talking to Hoss Stover before this weekend, and he said, you know what, Lane, I'm not even proud that I made it to the finals. I've already done that, but I'm proud I'm actually of age to make it into the bars this time around. Good job, Hoss Stover. So our winning 50-50 ticket for over $550 is 5, a red ticket. That is 576 5718. So for over $500, a winning ticket is a red ticket, 576 5718. And if you have that ticket, you can head on down to the admission table. Oh, correction. You can come on up to the announcer stand. 75 points for Hoss Stover. It's now time for Jet Lockey and the novice bull riding right now. Look at this bull ride right now, Jet Lockey. Manitoba, I want you to know how good of bull riders you have working their way up through the ranks right now. Jet Lockey, I guarantee you will be at the World Finals in a few years. You can put your hands together right now for that young cowboy. Good job, cowboy. Jet Locky absolutely styling that bull away from his hand. We're going to get it all added up. Ladies and gentlemen, on a Friday night, right here at his home province, Jet Locky was just 85 points. Karen Griffin just picked up the 50-50 ticket win as well. Good job, Karen Griffin. But even more than that, Jet Locky, 85 in the novice bull riding. Good job, Cowboy. Rolling on down to the next one. We're heading down to Shelbrooke, Saskatchewan. We got a whole lot of things to keep track of right now. Bo Armstrong, the Cowboy out of Shelbrooke, Saskatchewan. That is not what we wanted to see, but so we're going to be seeing a re-ride for that Cowboy. Bo Armstrong. I'll tell you what, I'm so pumped up. I'm fired up. Jet Locky absolutely throwing one down right there. I think everyone in the building thought that Cowboys bucked off that first jump out of that chute, and he absolutely handled that, got around there. A good job, Cowboy. Manitoba, I am not kidding when I say that that Cowboy will be representing this province at the PBR World Finals in a couple years from right now. And now it is time to head to the Cowboy who's even above Jet Locky. It is time to head on down to the Cowboy who is the reigning Canadian Finals Rodeo Junior Steer Riding Champion. This Cowboy walked up to Beausejour, Manitoba a couple weeks ago from right now, and he made a ride for 84 points. And I know there's a lot of old bull riders in the stands saying, you know what, back in my day, we didn't mark 84 for nothing. But I guarantee you, when this Cowboy made that ride in Beausejour a couple weeks ago, it is absolutely guaranteed that that was one of the best bull rides that we've seen in Canadian Cowboys Association history in the novice ranks. Davis Young, we're lucky to see this young man inside of this arena right now. We're lucky to see this Cowboy tying on inside of the Master Feeds buck and shoot right now. This kid is going to be not only one of the best bull riders in the country, he's going to be one of the best bull riders in the world, and I can guarantee you that. He is an absolute wolf when he ties his hand on inside of that buck and shoot, and you know what? I think this young Cowboy read the rule book because he knows he can go hat down on a Friday night right here in Brandon, Manitoba. This Cowboy's dad, Blade Young, one of the best bull riders, born and raised out of Saskatchewan, and he's building his sons to be the same on a Friday night. Let's go, Davis! Sit up, Cowboy! Kick loose, Davis! Brandon, Manitoba, that is the reigning Canadian Finals champion steer rider, and you can pump him up right now. How about it for Davis Young? I'm not kidding when I say how pumped up I am about these young up-and-comers in the junior bull riding, junior steer riding ranks. Davis Young, Jet Locky, and even when it comes on and down to the bull riding, Hayden Mulvey, Jet Wheeler. We are absolutely blessed to see these Cowboys and their talent come out on our ranks. We're going to get that score relayed back for Davis Young. Ladies and gentlemen, we got it back right now. Davis Young with just 80 points for the go-round to win. All right, a little bit of correction on that. Davis Young, 80 points for number 2 spot. Jet Lockey, 85 points in number 1 spot. And now we're heading on down to a bronc rider inside of that buck and shoe, the cowboy out of Big Beaver, Saskatchewan. This is Chan Sjogren. He's matched up against the horse General Wells. That novice bull riding absolutely lighting it up here tonight. And we still do have a re-ride right there so that the Cowboys, the Jet Lockey of 85 points, number 1 spot. Davis Young with 80 points in number 2 spot. That is not safe because we still have the Cowboy out of Shelbrook, Saskatchewan at number 3 spot. But right now we're just trying to head on down to our buck and shoes. This is Chan Sjogren's re-ride. Chan Sjogren, as a re-ride, is going to get on the horse General Wells. He was matched up against this horse on night number 1. This cowboy absolutely matched his horse move for move and was 73 points. And you know I've been bragging up the Cowboys all weekend long. You'll hear me talk about the finals they made, how they ride. But now it is time to focus our attention on down to this little bucking horse. Carl Baird, I've mentioned before that this cowboy has raised some of the best horses not only in the CCA. Prairie Rodeo has had a complete, clean sweep when it comes on down to stock of the year. But it's now time for Chan Sjogren on General Wells. Come on, cowboy, get those shafts moving. Chan Sjogren, he's a little bit slow to get up, but that cowboy's as tough as they come. With all due respect and all honesty, I believe that cowboy's up and he's all right. And I'm happy to see Chan Sjogren throw together a good saddle bronc ride here tonight. There were 73 points to him on that horse exactly. We're going to add one more on top of that tonight. How about 74 points? And now we head on down to a cowboy out of Shelbrook, Saskatchewan. Myself, being born and raised out of North Battleford, I'll tell you what, this is the first ever novice bull rider I've ever seen come out of Shelbrook, Saskatchewan, and he is one of the best in the game. These cowboys have qualified to the National High School Finals, the biggest rodeo in the world. Let's go, Bo Armstrong. Come on, cowboy. Keep hustling. Into the hand, away from the hand. 6-second ride, step off. Putting our judges to work right there. Caleb Bedford stepping through there. And I've heard a rumor that Caleb Bedford has not ever stepped through a gap where he hasn't said, bright lights, while he's done it. So if you heard that down at the arena, there's a reason for that. We got a score of 73 points. 73. All right, we have the official results back for our novice bull riding. We have Bo Armstrong in at 75 points. Then we have Davis Young at 80 points. And then we have our go-round number 2 champion for the second night in a row. It is none other than Manitoba's own Jet Lockey with 85 points. Oh. 53 years we've been bringing rodeo to Manitoba through the Mrca Final Stampede. But right now we'd like to pay a little bit of attention on down to that arena. As we do have one of the gold card members of the Canadian Cowboys Association, one of the founding fathers of the CCA Finals and CCA Rodeo Association, Mr. Carl Barrett, down there. Not only is Carl Barrett down there, but we have some granddaughters. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the first, second, and third generation of rodeo right here. And fourth generation of the Manitoba Rodeo Cowboys Association Stampede Finals. How about it one time for Carl Barrett and his granddaughters carrying on the tradition that's going to be serving on long more before that cowboy steps away from the rodeo arena. And now we set the stage for the fastest cowboys in rodeo, our Cowboys tie-down ropers. Here's our gunner. This is none other than Tufton McLeod, the cowboy, throwing down, getting one gathered. Yes, sir. You get a 9.4 on night number 1. And on night number 2, if this tie stays tied, we have a time of a 9.6. Tufton McLeod, that cowboy's been all around the rodeo world, Canadian professional rodeo ranks. But that horse he is on, he has roped on that horse ever since his high school rodeo career. That horse is bred and trained by Kevin Turner. And you know what? Tufton McLeod wants to pay him off just a little bit here tonight. That's one of the best cowboys the CCA has ever raised. And he can hear from you. And he'd like to pay attention to that horse down in there as well. Next to go, we have another last-minute replacement, but a cowboy who's very, very deserving. This is Ori Brown. This cowboy earlier on this year picked up 6th at the Swan River Stampede. In Ashland, Manitoba, he was the reserve tie-down roping champion, and in Beauséjour, he picked up number 4 spot. He's coming to us out of Kenton, Manitoba, and he has a great head catch right outside of that barrier line. Let's go to work, cowboy. Down goes the calf. Let's get him gathered. Yes, sir. Now we have to wait for the longest 6 seconds in all of rodeo as he rides ahead. We have a qualified time of a 10.9 for Ori Brown. It is now time for a young cowboy out of Nanton, Alberta, that goes by the name of Cade Christensen. This cowboy has a whole lot of opportunity in front of him right now. This cowboy needs to use these finals right now to try to qualify to the 2024 CCA finals. In round number 1, he ran a time of an 18.5. Cade Christensen, let's go to work, cowboy. That's not what we wanted to see. That's going to be in no time. It's now time to meet a cowboy who told me he wears Velcro shoes for a reason. He told me he wears Velcro shoes because the only time he ties knots, he gets paid. This is Colby Kamita. This is the young cowboy out of Weyburn, Saskatchewan, who's a National High School Finals qualifier and the reigning Tisdale Rambler Rodeo and the reigning Pilot Butte Rodeo champion in the tie-down roping. It's a young gun, Colby Kamita, coming to you right now. All right, Colby, get him standing, get him gathered. Look at this. This cowboy can do it faster than I can say it. Yes. Colby Kamita absolutely throwing down a run right there, but that calf putting up a little bit of a fight right there. That's going to be a no time for Colby Kamita. It is now time to head on down to the Iron Man of the CCA. Scott Sigfusson. This Cowboys qualified to the CCA finals in the tie down, in the steer wrestling. And tonight he's trying to take the lead from our current leader. Scott Sigfusson out of Tagaski, Saskatchewan. He's qualified to the CCA finals more times than I can count. And he's the current number one cowboy when it comes on down to back numbers for the CCA finals. Throws down the calf, gets him gathered. 1, 2, yes, sir! As the cowboy rides ahead, that calf has to stay tied for 6 seconds. We have a time of 11.4, good enough for number 3 in the go-round. If your last name is Dunham, and in your household you're not raised with tennis rackets in your hand, you're raised with a lariat and you're very, very good at what you do. Bruce Dunham, This cowboy is absolutely a gunslinger. This cowboy picked up second in round number 1 with a time of a 9.0. This cowboy is headed into the CCA finals in number 3 spot. Come on, Bruce Dunham, let's get one down, cowboy. You got him, Bruce. Let's get him gathered. Yes, sir. To the untrained eye, that might just seem like a mediocre run, but someone who's spending a lot of time watching tie-down roping, that run had a lot of good in that. We have a time of a 15.7, but the time is not what's important right there. What is important is that cowboy caught that calf, and he had a little bit more body, I would say, inside of that head loop than he would have wanted. So he had to do a lot of work when it comes on down to tie him down. The young up-and-coming calf roper, I hope you watch that run, because Bruce Dunham just put on a clinic. And next to go is the cowboy out of my hometown. My hometown of North Battleford, Saskatchewan is rated as Matt Pick's going to work right now. Throws down. Come on, Matt. Let's get him gathered. Throw him down. Let's hit the bonus right now, cowboy. Yes, sir. We got a time of a 12.1. If this calf stays tied, we get the nod of approval. How about a time of a 12.1? Ladies and gentlemen, that cowboy will be competing at his first ever CCA finals at his hometown rodeo, North Battleford, Saskatchewan, in 1 week from right now. How about you put your hands together for Mr. Matt Pick? It is now time for the 1996 CCA tie-down roping champion. Since then, he's won another title. He's a 2-time CCA finals champion, and he's going to work right now. This is Mr. Kevin Dunham. Throws down, absolutely beautiful head catch. And round number 1, he picked up 4th place with a time of a 12.2. We got a time, but we have to wait for him to ride ahead. It looks like it's official. How about a time of a 9.6 and a tie for the lead for Mr. Dunham? It is now time for the cowboy who made an absolutely flawless run in round number 1. Earlier on tonight, I made my prediction, and I stole Caitlin's choice, and I said this cowboy is going to win the round. This is Justin Bridgman. This is the cowboy out of Binscarth, Manitoba. In round number 1, he ran an absolutely electric time of an 8.9, where he picked up 40 points towards the Manitoba title. And he's going to work right now. Let's go to work, cowboy. Justin Bridgman, down goes the calf. Let's get him gathered. Let's get him tied. We got a time of 11.9 for Mr. Bridgman out of Binscarth, Manitoba. That cowboy right there, that cowboy's introduced to me as a bulldogger. Little did I know he's one heck of a tie-down roper, one heck of a team roper, and he's proving it all weekend long. How about a one time for one of your own from right here in the Keystone province, Mr. Justin Bridgman? Pay him off a little bit right now. It is now time for the cowboy who walked in to the Manitoba Tour Finals, ranked number 1. This is Tate Bearback, the young cowboy out of Maple Creek, Saskatchewan, who's qualified to the CCA Finals at number 5 spot right now. Just gets hung up a little bit on his get off, but he's going to try to throw it together right now. Tate Bearback, let's get him gathered. Yeah, buddy. We got a time of a 13.1. 13.1. All right, so unofficially, our champions will go round number 2. 2 veterans of the Canadian Cowboys Association. How about it for Kevin Dunham, Tufton McLeod, with a time of a 9.6. Third place in the round goes to Ori Brown. Fourth place goes to Mr. Justin Bridgman. And then from then on, it's just a bunch of Cowboys in the crowing hole. But good job, Cowboys. Way to make it work. It is now time for the fastest ladies in rodeo. We're going to head on down to the breakaway roping for the next event. As we do that, we'd once again like to thank our sponsors, Verdun Animal Hospital, along with Mazer Group, Master Feeds, Westoba Credit Union Limited, Styles Masonry Limited, Berglund Ranch Supply, Fraser Auction Limited, Ole's Trading Post and Trucking, Action Power, Heartland Livestock, Garcia Group of Companies, Motel 6. And Days In. That is Jason and Natasha. Thank you for supporting the 2024 Manitoba Finals Rodeo as we now set the stage for the fastest ladies in rodeo, our ladies breakaway roping right now. Our gunner in our ladies breakaway roping is going to be none other than Amy Bowditch. The cowgirl to my left, the timer, is none other than Caitlin Stenberg. She picked Amy Bowditch to win the go-round here tonight. She came up empty on night number 1, and she's one of the cowgirls trying to qualify herself by way of the Manitoba Finals into our CCA Finals. Amy Bowditch, Dalen Oliver, Madeline Taylor, and Dana Gardner, they have all the cards laid out in front of them right now. And they're going to try to make the best of the situation. We're going to start off with Amy Bowditch. This cowgirl's coming to us out of Sylvania, Saskatchewan, northeastern Saskatchewan. This cowgirl's qualified to the National High School Finals Rodeo in the past, Canadian Cowboys Association Finals Rodeo in the past. But tonight, she needs to make a move. In round number 1, she threw down. She came up empty. So she's going to be going for the go-round win. On night number 1, our fast time was Madeline Taylor out of Weldon, Saskatchewan with a time of 2.6. Let's go, Amy Bowditch, right there. The opportunity was right there in front of her. But unfortunately, that's going to be a no time. Thumbs down. If she was a bull rider, she would have been bucked off. No score. No time. Amy Bowditch. It is now time for a young lady out of Vibank, Saskatchewan, Dalen Oliver. This cowgirl's trying to qualify through the wild card spot to try to qualify to her first ever CCA finals. Right now, let's go to work, cowgirl. Yeah! No, that's not what we like to see. As I know that run did look good for those of you in the crowd, but unfortunately, since that calf stepped its front feet into that loop, that is going to make that a no time. No time for Dalen Oliver. Now it is time to head on down to one of the best cowgirls we have headed on down the road. She comes to us out of Lucky Lake, Saskatchewan, but that is not her hometown. This is Sheridan Lillyman. She's the number 3 ranked breakaway roper in the standings as of right now. She's coming to us from Lucky Lake this weekend, but this cowgirl is from Australia. And Brandon, Manitoba, I think you can show her a little bit of appreciation here on a Friday night. When I say Aussie, 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 you say oi, oi, oi. Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. One more time, Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. Good job, cowgirl, right there, throwing down an absolute phenomenal run. We got a time of a 2.4 and a new fast time in the go-round. Good job for Sheridan Lillyman out of Australia. But we'll call her from Lucky Lake, 2.4. That cowgirl picked up the win at the Austin Threshermen's reunion, and since then she has not let up off that gas pedal. But now we're headed on up to the North Country for the first time of the night. We're headed on up to Weldon, Saskatchewan. That is where Madeline Taylor calls home. This cowgirl has qualified to the National High School Finals and competed at the biggest rodeo in the world multiple times. She is trying to qualify for her first ever CCA Finals right now. She has a great start to that with a time of a 2.6 in round number 1. She was a champion in round 1. Madeline Taylor, this is one of the cowgirls you want to keep your eye on. We met her older brother, Coulter, earlier on today in a steer wrestling. Let's go to work, Madeline. It's your time to shine, cowgirl. We got a time of a 3.7 and number 2 spot in the go-round. Good job right there for the cowgirl out of the North Country, Madeline Taylor, as we now set the stage for Dana Gardner. Dana Gardner, this cowgirl comes to us out of Lakeland, Manitoba. In round number 1, she picked up 4th place in the go-round and picked up 10 points towards the title with a time of a 3.6. She picked up 1st place earlier on this season at one of the highest paying rodeos of the year at Breakaway Sakapo. Dana Gardner is getting everything set up just right behind that barrier line as it once again comes into effect to make sure that this cowgirl gives this calf a proper head start. Dana Gardner, let's go to work, cowgirl. She knew she had to be an absolute gunslinger if she wanted to make money on night number 2 right here at the Manitoba Final Stampede Rodeo. Unfortunately, she comes up empty. That's going to be a no time. And now we head on down to Hannah McCannell. The McCannell family, very well known in the rodeo world, and Hannah McCannell is making sure everyone knows her name. She's heading on into the CCA Finals, ranked number 2 in the breakaway roping standings. On night number 1, she ran a time of a 2.8 for number 2 in the go-round. She's one of the cowgirls you want to keep an eye on each and every time she rides in behind that barrier line. The multi-event hand following in her father's footsteps right now. The only thing is she's going to teach him how to leave the barrier clean. Hannah McCannell, it's your time to shine right now. Caryvale, Saskatchewan. We got a time of a 3.3, good enough for second in the go-round here tonight. 3.3 for Hannah McCannell. As now we head on down to Brennan Chapel. The cowgirl out of Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, qualified to the 2024 CCA Finals already. At one of the most historic rodeos of the season, this cowgirl backed in behind that barrier line and ran a time of a 2.9 to pick up the reserve title in Austin, Manitoba. She's a champion of Ashern as well. Each and every person, I believe, in this arena knows how fast that cowgirl can be, but unfortunately, on night number 2 of the Mrca Stampede Finals, that's going to be no time, thumbs down for Brennan Chapel. It is now time for the first ever CCA Finals champion breakaway roper. It is now time for the cowgirl out of Delisle, Saskatchewan. This is Jody Traynor. Earlier on this year, she picked up the reserve win in Swan River, Manitoba, and tonight she's absolutely firing on all cylinders right there. We got a time of a 2.9. Good enough for number 2 spot in the go-round. It is now time for the best of them all. Lacey Jordanson, this cowgirl has absolutely lit up the Canadian Cowboys Association all year long. I've had the pleasure of meeting her just over a month ago at the University of Saskatchewan fundraiser event where she rode in there, putting in the time, getting the reps in so she can try to qualify and try to win even more money. If you win the go-round here tonight, you win $800. That is exactly what this cowgirl's gunning for right now. We got a time of a 3.0, unofficially number 3 in the go-round for Lacey Jordanson. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the number 1 cowgirl in the Canadian Cowboys Association. Why don't you do me a favor and put one hand against the other and pay her off a little bit here tonight. Good job, Lacey Jordanson. It is now time for the cowgirl walking on into the Manitoba Tour Finals, ranked number 1. This cowgirl stepped up to the Canadian Cowboys Association competition, and she said, you know what? I want to be in the finals. She did exactly that. She qualified to the finals, ranked number 5 out of each and every breakaway roper we've met already this weekend. She comes to us out of Kerrobert, Saskatchewan. This is Mallory Wright. She started off her season with a 6th place finish at the Tisdale Rambler Rodeo. Fourth place at the Pilot B Rodeo. Reserve championship at the highest paying rodeo of the year in Brandon, Manitoba. And she split the win at Whitewood, Saskatchewan and Verdon, Manitoba. This cowgirl has absolutely lit it up all season, and tonight she's going to do the exact same. She's trying to beat Sheridan Lillyman's fast time of a 2.3. That's what we have in the lead as of right now. Mallory Wright, she's been competing against Sheridan Lillyman for a long time, as Sheridan has competed and Mallory have competed at the Keystone Rodeo ranks. As we did have the wrong calf loaded right there, it is very important to know which calf is loaded, as these cowgirls are drawn a particular calf before the go-round. Bull Riders, this is our final breakaway roper to go, and we may have saved the best for last with Corrobert, Saskatchewan's Mallory Wright. The first time I met this cowgirl, I was all of 16 years of age, and she's always had a rope in her hand. She's very, very good at what she does. Not only is she a very good breakaway roper, she is a very, very good team roper as well. Let's go to work, Macy Wright. Yeah, boy, cowgirl right there for Macy Wright. We got a time of a 4.7. So unofficially, our champion of round number 2, how about it for Sheridan Lillyman with a time of a 2.3. As we head on down to the rough stock end of the arena for the final time tonight, I'd like to introduce to you two very important men. Not only are they voted into this arena as the MRCA Final Stampede Bullfighters, they have been voted to the CCA Finals as the best bullfighters all year long. It is none other than Caleb Bedford and Cody Strandquist. We're going to start it off with a young cowboy, Jace Bearback. If you want to let me lay out just a little bit of the story this cowboy had to put up with already this week. And last night, he was told he is the only cowboy that can qualify through the wild card spot to the finals, but they said you have to get a qualified ride to be there. This cowboy said, you know what? Bet. I'll be 76 points. I'm going to win the go-round. And on go-round number 2, I'm going to come out of the power action bucking chute on a Saturday night and win the rodeo. Let's go to work, cowboy. Bucked off, no score, no money for Jace Bearback. Ladies and gentlemen, that young cowboy rose to the occasion on night number 1, no score on night number 2, but he's all of 16 years of age and he can hear from you right now. No score. And you heard me mention before that we are absolutely blessed to see some of the young talent we have working their way up through the ranks. Davis Young, that cowboy, will be at the PBR World Finals. Jet Lockey, I can almost guarantee you that cowboy's going to be there too. But now it is time to meet the young man out of Brooks, Alberta, Hayden Mulvey. This cowboy has qualified to the Canadian Finals Rodeo in the past as a junior steer rider. If you wanted me to talk to you about the natural progression that the rough stock cowboys make, if you're a top-of-the-line cowboy, you start off in the Canadian Professional Rodeo ranks, and then from there, you go to the CCA, and from there, you go to the pay window on a Saturday night. This is none other than Hayden Mulvey away from his hand. Come on, cowboy, drop that elbow, keep riding. Yeah, boy, cowboy, Hayden Mulvey. That's one for TikTok right there, cowboy. For those of you who may be following along on social media, these young bull riders, they got quite the following. Hayden Mulvey, he's on social media as Mowgli. You can follow him on TikTok. And he's a very, very handy bull rider. That's how I follow along with him. He's very, very good at what he does. Putting our judges to work. We got a qualified ride right there. 1-50 for the bull, 1-50 for the cowboy. And we'll get it relayed back to you as soon as possible. Right there for one of the future stars of rodeo, Mr. Hayden Mulvey. $73 points, 74 points. Correction for Hayden Mulvey, the cowboy out of Brooks, Alberta, getting it done on a Friday night. It is now time for the cowboy out of the North Country. This is Chase Skeen, the Beatty brother out of a whole pack of bull riders, and this cowboy may be one of the best when it comes on to being a rising star. He's matched up against the bull hooked on a feeling. This bull is one that the Cowboys won on that ride that was just posted by Hayden Mulvey of 74 points. That is not safe, especially when we have Chase Skeen tying his hand on into that bull rope. This cowboy, ever since the start of the year in Tisdale, Saskatchewan, he was the reserve champion to start off the Manitoba Tour at Tisdale Rambler Rodeo. In North Battleford, Saskatchewan, he is crowned the champion there, and this cowboy's all of 17 years of age. He stepped up just a little bit. He's just graduated from the steer riding last year. And this is one cowboy you want to keep your eye on. Chase Skeen, let's go to work, cowboy. Away from the hand, drop that elbow, keep riding. Behind the head, good job. Yeah, buddy. How about it for Prince Albert, Saskatchewan's Chase Skeen on a Friday night? You can hear Mama Skeen's whistling. That 74-point ride, Mr. Hayden Mulvey. I'm not sure if it's safe right now, but we're going to let our cowboy officials, Mr. Gord Adams and Elmer Eagle, get that figured out for you right now. We get the scores relayed back. How about this? 81 points for Chase Skeen. It is now time for the most decorated cowboy in the bull riding, Judd Colonus. This cowboy coming to us out of the Master Feeds Buck and Shoot is matched up against the bull All In. He is the oldest bull rider we have competing this weekend. This cowboy has rose to the occasion multiple times and been the only qualified ride. Let's try to do it on a Friday night. He gets whooped down by the little pained bull. I don't want you guys to underplay how good that bull is. All In. He's been a long-standing bull of the Canadian Cowboys Association. And that bull does not kick a whole lot, but that makes him even a little bit harder, especially away from the hand. So hopefully my good buddy Judd Colonus doesn't take that too much to heart right there. You know what? I'm just going to try to cheer him up a little bit later on when I see him at the Roadhouse here tonight. But Judd Colonus, buck down. No score. Who's next? It is now time for one of the best up-and-comers out of southern Saskatchewan. Out of the Mazer Group Buck and Shoot, we'd like to thank the Mazer Group for supporting the 2024 Manitoba Finals Stampede. This is Lucas Ozierny. This cowboy's out of Grenfell, Saskatchewan, and he has not even graduated high school, and he's already qualified to the Bull Riders of Canada National Finals, and this is the second year he's qualified to the Canadian Cowboys Association Finals. This cowboy is very, very good at what he does, and he's matched up against Money Shot right now. Come on, cowboy! Lucas, let's ride one! Keep riding! Yeah, buddy, Lucas Ozierny. Brandon, Manitoba, you can pump up that cowboy right now. Lucas Ozierny, we got your score back, cowboy. How about 84 points? Yeah, boy, cowboy, right there. Lucas Ozierny, good job, buddy. He says, that's for Jesse. Lucas Ozierny, good job, cowboy. And then there was 3. We've been talking about the young guns out of Alberta. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a reason the Cowboys out of Alberta come out to the Canadian Cowboys Association. Jet Wheeler, this Cowboy's already qualified to the CCA Finals, and he's matched up against the Bull Bobby Knuckles. The reason these Cowboys come on out from Alberta is because they know when it comes on down to the level right before professional rodeo, that is the CCA. That is the reason why we've had Cowboys like Lonnie West. We've had Cowboys like Jared Parsonage. They've spent time in the Canadian Cowboys Association because from here, the only place you can go is to professional rodeo, and Jet Wheeler wants to make sure everything is absolutely dialed in. On night number 1, this cowboy nodded his head and unfortunately come on down before that 8-second buzzer. Matched up against Bobby Knuckles right now. These Cowboys, if they're coming all the way over to Manitoba, to the Keystone province out of Alberta, there's a reason why. They're not just nodding their head and hoping for the best. They know they're trying to win each and every time. Jet Wheeler, keep riding, keep reaching. Get out of there, cowboy. Yeah, buddy. Bull ride on a Friday night. Yes, sir. Caleb Bedford, good jump. We like that. Jet Wheeler putting together an absolutely phenomenal bull ride on a Friday night. We're going to get that score relayed back to you as soon as possible for that cowboy. We got a score of 81 points, unofficially in a tie for number 2 spot in the go-round. And then there was one. It is now time for the final bull rider of the evening, but we may have saved the best for last. When it comes on down to the Canadian Cowboys Association standings, this is the number 1 bull rider in the standings. This is Maple Creek, Saskatchewan's own Cole Wasillo. This is the cowboy that's been putting in the time all year long to show up to the practice pen and learn from one of the best Canadian bull riders we've ever had that goes by the name of Austin Beasley. In night number 1, he was 73 points and picked up 20 points towards the Manitoba Tour title. Cole Wasillo, he's the year-end champion, and he was the reserve bull riding champion in Radville, Saskatchewan when he was 80 points. Let's go to work, cowboy. Ladies and gentlemen, Cole Wasillo, you do not see that cowboy come down very often, but unfortunately, tonight that was the case. So unofficially our champion of round number 1. How about it for the young cowboy out of Grenfell, Saskatchewan? It is none other than Lucas Ozerny with 84 points. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you to each and every one of you, whether you're a contestant, if you're a cowboy or cowgirl competing, if you're a rodeo fan, if you're a sponsor, we thank each and every one of you for coming on out to the 2024 MRCA Stampede Finals right here in Brandon, Manitoba. Thank you to you all for coming out. It's been an absolute spectacular round of rodeo here on a Friday night. Tomorrow night, that is where it all comes down to, and we'll figure out our final minute qualifiers to 2024 CCA Finals. My name is Lane LaPlante. I'm from North Battleford, Saskatchewan, and a proud member of the Mooseman First Nation, and I'm proud to be the voice of the 2024 MRCA Final Stampede. For those of you who are driving, please do not drink and drive, and we'll see you all again 24 hours from right now for round number 3 of the 2024 MRCA Stampede Finals.